gameplay, man, I can ignore some cooked lighting and some. I can't ignore the absolutely god awful performance the game has, especially in any area that has a lot of particles. Um, Especially any area that has a lot of particles. Now the problem is that's most of the game. Uh, so if you combine particles with a big area, the frame rate goes from here to here and doesn't come back for a bit. But the gameplay is very, very, very fun. I am bad at it. I'm sure there are people who are good at playing the game who actually like deal with stuff in a way that makes sense, but I just like to bash my head against things and it tends to work. Oh, the other thing that I find really weird is the game has a lot of areas that they don't intend for you to go back to, but you can. So in chapter 1, where you fight the big yellow baby, that area, when you go to it, when you beat the boss, it teleports you back out. That's where you get the, what is it called? Like, I'm thinking Monster Hunter terms, fireproof mantle. It's the fireproof thing that you get where, like, it makes it the beating the big bear boss easier. But you can go back to that area. There is a teleport point in there. And if you try to go to the end of the area, there's a staircase there. If you try to walk up the staircase, there's an invisible wall there. If in chapter 3, this is a minor spoiler, there is a big ice lake. And on that lake, you fight one of the bosses. I'm not going to say the boss. It's a cool boss. The hitbox is weird, but it's a cool boss. Now, this lake, you can go out to the end of it. It takes maybe 2 minutes to walk to the end of the arena. I have no idea why they made the area so big. And you can walk around the entire thing. And I think it takes maybe 10 minutes to navigate around the edge of the entire lake. Now, you might think, oh, there's going to be, like, something out there. Like, why make it so big if there's not enemies or items or something out there? There is nothing. Literally nothing out there. It's actually so much nothing that certain points of that area out there, they use low poly models and lower quality textures because they never actually expect you to go out there. Also, the hitboxes for the edge of the map are wrong. So you're maybe like 3 meters away from the cliff face, but there's an invisible wall there. But it like lines up with the shape. They just didn't push it back far enough. There's a bit where there's an invisible wall that like raises you off the ground, which is clearly supposed to be for a rock that you can stand on, but it doesn't align with the rock, so you can just like jump like floating in the air. Near the edge, like the point where you go onto the lake, there is a bit that you can get an item. It's not worth it though, and it's definitely not the 10-minute walk around to get it. You can, like, see it from the starting point. I just didn't notice it there when I first went there. But, like, this is something you would never see in any other game because most game developers have gone to, like, some game development school or they have some knowledge of, like, other game development projects before they work on something like Wukong. But because they don't, at least they don't seem to, they just do things that are just weird and feel like they feel more jank. Like Wukong is a game that clearly has a budget of a AAA game, but feels like an indie game. There's like weird indie design quirks about it from like game developers who haven't worked in this genre before, and it really makes the game like kind of endearing. That being said, there's some boss mechanics which is just fucking weird as hell. The boss fights are great, and most of the bosses are really good, but I do think the difficulty scaling of the bosses is like, it's fucking all over. It's not even like a consistent wave. It's like whoop, 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 and then just like fucking back to the floor. Like some of the bosses take me one try. Other bosses, like the final boss of chapter 1, I thought was really difficult. Actually, I think the hardest boss I fought so far is like the blue baby. which like causes a big fucking AoE, but you don't realize how big the AoE is gonna be when you first fight it. But also, I guess you're kind of getting used to the mechanics. I think that's the fucking first boss in the game. Is one of the hardest ones. The final boss of chapter 1, the flame bear, very difficult. The martial arts tiger in chapter 2 that you fight in like the lake of blood, or the pool of blood. Very predictable fight. Like, you know what he's going to do, but it is hard to get those mechanics down, because it's also like all the bosses in this game have a lot of mechanics. Like, you'll see a lot of games where like the boss will have, let's imagine a game like Dragon Age Veilguard. They showed off a boss fight with like a dragon, and the dragon had 3 attacks, maybe 4 attacks that they showed, where it was breathe fireball, tail swipe, jump, slam, and run at you. And that was all of the mechanics it had. Whereas fighting the what was called like ferocious tiger or something like that in Wukong, like it's got like its punch combo. It's got like a feint where it will do this sword attack, but first 2 have a certain timing. The third attack, so he'll like spin, he'll like slash, spin, and then slash. So it like throws off the timing. Here's this attack where he'll like turn invisible and then charge you. Here's the attack where he'll like jump up and then slam down. But then he's got like a different version of that, and sometimes he combos the attacks into other attacks. So he'll do like the like slash, spin, slash, jump, slam, and then like go into like the invisible and then charge you. And it's not always that same combo of abilities. And when you start up a fight as well, sometimes the mechanic they use also differs. So a lot of the time when you're fighting the tiger, he starts it with the jump, slam, but sometimes he goes into slash, spin, slash. So you're not even sure how the fight is going to start. And basically every boss is like this, where there is a lot of mechanics, and some of them, because they're really easy, you don't see them all. But another good one is when you're going through chapter 3, there's a big dude who's just a fucking MMO boss, where like if you put this boss into FF14 or like FF16, which is basically a single player version of 14 because Yoshi P just made the same game twice, this boss is really weird, where the boss itself doesn't attack you. Like, the boss doesn't move. It just stands there. But all of its attacks are either it will summon some adds, so there's a bunch of statues there. It can revive the statue, so you should like break the statues at the start of the fight. But if you do that, he still has these other laser-based attacks, where like one of them is he'll shoot a laser, where there's no visual indicator of the laser. It's only timing based, and a lot of the attacks are like that, where there is 0 visual indicator. It is just a consistent timing pattern. So it'll be like dodge, 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 dodge. Or it'll be dodge, 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 dodge. And once you get that pattern down, it feels really nice. But that like initial run, you're like, I didn't see it. What the fuck just happened? But like, here's this big laser attack. He'll summon like this big circle around him, and that's when he'll have like a laser chasing you. And then also those timed lasers. So you're trying to dodge the other one by just walking around, but then you need to keep that time in your head. So you're like, dodge, 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 dodge. While also lasers coming around everywhere as well. So if you stand too close to it, it's going to throw off your dodge timing. And you're like, wait, am I supposed to dodge now? Or is it supposed to be like another second from now? And there's also this attack where it will spawn these like statues around the side. And it basically makes like a laser grid, but not like a complex grid, where it'll like have like 2 lasers coming in like to form a square in the center. So one moving this way, the other moving this way. I guess it's 4 lasers, and it'll be like closing in on a square. Once you realize that, you just like, oh, I just jump over it, and it just don't stand near the combo, and boom, you get it. And then like towards the end of part of the fight, it'll do that, and also like the timing laser as well. So it feels a lot harder. But the boss itself doesn't have any melee attacks. So between those stages, you can just like wail on it. There is another boss that literally doesn't attack you. Like, there is no boss fight. It has a boss health bar, but all of the fight is based on you fighting minions. And it spawns like 10 of them at the start, and you're like, I'm dead, because these are difficult enemies at the time anyway. But once you clear those out, you can just win the fight. There's like no extra thought to it. And there have been a couple of reskinned bosses. I think so far, I fought maybe like, I think there's been like maybe 2. Like you have Blue Baby, Yellow Baby, and like Yellow Baby is just Blue Baby with like a couple extra mechanics. But also much easier because it also spawns these ads which give you health, so you can't die in the fight. There's a couple of others like that, but besides those, every boss that is a unique boss is a unique boss, right? Like, you don't, like, you know, you play a Souls game, right? And you fight dude with a sword, dude with a sword, dude with a spear, dude with a sword and a shield, dude with a sword, but then he switches to a spear and then maybe switches to an axe, right? Like, you get into that cycle with Souls games where a lot of the bosses feel similar, but like everything in Wukong, it's like, okay, so you have Blue Baby that's like smashes its face, its head on the ground, causes big AoE. You have this fucking, you have dude with a sword. There is a dude with a sword, and he fucking sucks. So he kicks you off the bridge and you instantly die. There is Tiger, which is like martial arts Tiger. You have fucking Fire Bear, where it's just a bear, but it's on fire. Why? I don't know. I don't understand the cutscene. I don't know what's going on. You have like laser statue. You have boss that doesn't attack you. You have this giant fucking demon thing that like bashes its head on the ground. Very easy boss. You do like 10x damage to it. I don't know the reason why, but like very easy boss. You have the boss that gives you the ability that makes every single fight trivial, where you can like transform into like this like wolf thing. The rising tides ability, I never use it because it literally trivializes every single fight. Instead, I use Kage Bunshin. I use the shadow clone ability, which also trivializes every fight. You have this fight where you fight like some big like golem, like stone golem. It's just a golem. It just smacks its head on the ground and like smacks the ground. You have this you have all of the long fights. The long fights are so different, where like the first one, it has this like these barrels on its back. If you break them, it does bonus damage, but it also does like lightning damage to you. There's the long dragon fight where it's a big fucking Chinese dragon. You might have seen it in one of the trailers. It's actually not a difficult fight. It's just the hitbox is weird on it because it's a Chinese dragon, so the way it moves is also kind of weird. So I'm not used to like how Chinese dragons move, but the lock-on point is its head. But a lot of the time, you actually want to be locked onto the tail, but there's no lock-on on the tail. So most of that fight, you're fighting without lock-on. Is like there's all of these other, like, everything is unique in the game, and it's so cool. And apparently, there's DLC being worked on, which will be very exciting. I want to see what happens with that. If you've not played Wukong, I highly recommend you play Monkey Game. It is very, 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 very fun. You will enjoy it. If you like action games, you will enjoy it. Especially if you can play it on a system that doesn't have performance issues. So, good luck with that. Play it on console. Play it on console, and you might have a better experience in that regard.